And Extinct with Orange joins us now ahead of the match against TongFu. Tell me what your thoughts are as you head into the top four.
Feeling super happy. Yeah, I never been through like win so in a huge prize pool money. Yeah, so I'm feeling really excited.
How do you, obviously you're thinking about that, how do you set that aside and focus and get rid of the nerves heading into this game?
We just play. I just play like usually. Like I'm not thinking about the prize money. It's not about the prize. Yeah, it's like I want to get a name in this, like a high place in this tournament because it's like the worldwide. It's a world class tournament. Yeah, so I want to get a higher place.
Yeah, because it means a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good luck, Extinct. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Lee Kong Yang, KYXY, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
蔡怡峰 Moshi Malaysia Kuala Lumpur
林伟斌 Net Kuala Lumpur Malaysia
库中兴 Ohio Malaysia Kuala Lumpur
Joel Chanjanong, Extinct, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Orange had an interesting run through the whole tournament. Even in the prelims, they were the final team from their group to qualify in the upper bracket. And they're in the lower bracket now, but they've been entertaining every single game. Ohio, Mushi, KYXY, Net, and Extinct, who we just spoke to in the interview, that was pretty much saying, yes, we need to ignore the prize money going into this game. And I also think he wanted to kind of say, not necessarily you just want to finish top, they want to make a name for themselves. They want to stand out as a team and maybe individuals, but they really just want to impress. And so far, they've been impressing me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, what really impresses me about them is that they're willing to pick Ursa or something strange such as Ursa in elimination match. One more loss they would have gotten out in the last best of three, and it takes huge cojones, as you were saying, to do something like that. And in the last matchup,
it takes big oranges.
Huge oranges. TongFu actually 2-0'd Orange, or TongFu 2-0'd Orange in the preliminary stage. I didn't have a chance to catch those games. Do you have any comments on their recent performances?
Orange or TongFu's?
Either. Or their matchup together.
Again, like Bruno showed yesterday, Orange just keeps on picking new lineups, new heroes. The only hero we've been seeing as an ongoing thing for Orange has been Extinct on either Chen or Visage.
Yeah.
And maybe Mushi on Shadowfiend. Has he played it 3 times now?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and Net on the Bane Elemental maybe.
Yeah, and there's Ohio on the Nature's Prophet.
Ah, okay.
But I mean, they do have their core heroes. But I'm going to save you here. They do not pick all 4 of them or 5 of them every single time. Maybe one get the signature hero, the other 3 rotate. And that's why we see so many crazy lineups from them.
All right. How's your Mystic Ball going, Bruno? Does it work still?
It is still working, but we're going to use it later because I'm very enjoying looking at myself there and seeing upside down. It's really
Stop
nice.
enjoying the preview monitor so well. Oh my God, Bruno.
So what do you think about Shadowfiend? We've seen Mushi play it quite a lot.
All right then, guys. Sorry, I have to interrupt. We're going to have to intro TongFu, apparently. Not because of the Mystic Ball segment. That was really good. But, of course, the game is going to be starting. So let's introduce TongFu.
And Banana with TongFu is with us now, and Josh is once again going to help us translate. And we're really curious. We've been talking a little bit about what to ask you because we've seen you a couple of times this morning. What have you been doing in the last couple of hours to prepare to face Orange?
前几个小时就为了备战 Orange， 你们做了些什么？
我们就因为刚打完对埃及的比赛没多长时间，我们就是在看那个 A 队打那个拿威的比赛，然后没有做太多准备吧，稍微聊了一下。
So mainly they just been watching Alliance vs Na'Vi, and they spent a little bit of time discussing, but they haven't really had a lot of time.
So if you end up in the grand final, would you rather face Alliance or Na'Vi if you had a choice? Now I'm curious. I have to ask.
他很好奇说，如果你们杀到总决赛，是比较愿意对 Na'Vi 还是 A 队？
哪位
？Na'Vi.
Even I heard that. Yeah. Okay. Banana, thank you, and good luck to you. We're looking forward to seeing it.
王娇 Banana 中国开封
陈志豪豪中国广州周洋 KJ 中国上海
张盼木中国武汉
王兆辉山生中国湖南
TongFu, a team with motivation to take the whole tournament, and there wasn't even a second of hesitation when Banana was asked who they want to meet, and they said Na'Vi. They want to play Na'Vi, but well, if they win this, they get to play them in the lower bracket finals, but of course they have to go through Orange to do so.
And that's your ultimate grudge match right there. TongFu against Na'Vi right now, after the way Na'Vi beat them down to the lower bracket yesterday. Ultimate grudge match.
Yeah, well, they've got, I feel bad for Orange. They're going to treat them like not even, sportsmanship. Well, I wouldn't treat them as a kind of sportsmanshipy friendly. I'd just be like, I need to go through you to get to someone else. Sorry, it's nothing personal, but we really have to destroy you. But they've been a great team so far. I think the game's already in bantam picks, so I'm just going to ask for some predictions, starting with Bruno.
Okay, I'm going to say TongFu 2-1. This is the game of the strength carry mid like Alchemist and DK versus the flashy plays from Mushi and Queen of Pain and crazy stuff like that. I think the strength carry wins this one, even though I don't like it much. Malk.
I think it's two different mindsets going into this match. I think TongFu, as you were saying, wants to beat Na'Vi, but they also want to prove that China is still large in charts in this tournament. So they're going to take it 2-0 because Orange right now is actually satisfied with what they've achieved.
I think TongFu 2-1. I think Orange is great, but they're also inconsistent. And I think TongFu is just more stable roster, and they'll take it home.
All right, well, I think the better team will win.
Wow.
How's that for a prediction?
You're an ass.
All right, fine. I also think there's going to be life stealer bombs if you really want to put me on the spot. But either way, I don't know. Let's go to the game and find out. It's Orange versus TongFu. It's a best of 3. Winner will secure themselves at least 3rd place. Loser will finish the tournament in 4th. Over to the hall. Best of luck to both teams.
Orange versus TongFu.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Benaroya Hall, home of the Seattle Symphony. It's time for TongFu versus Orange Esports, best of 3. Winner guaranteed top 3 finish at the International. The loser will finish 4th place. I am LD. I'm joined here by my man Luminous.
I don't think a lot of us have expected TongFu to make it this far, and a lot of us have not expected Orange to make it this far. Both these teams very, very strong in their individual play, very strong in their teamwork, but sometimes things just don't click as well as some of these top teams. But who cares about expectations? Let's throw them out the windows, because right now, Orange and TongFu fighting for the tournament lives. Any predictions coming from you before we discuss the picks and bans?
I think it's really close. A lot of it comes down to the drafts. To me, Orange Esports very reliant on a strong start. They've been getting it in most of their games. Mushi's been drafting exceptionally well. I think if Orange has good drafts, I favor them. So I'm going to say Orange 2-1, but it really could go either way. Very close series.
Well, TongFu's going to open up with the draft with Lifestealer and Stormspirit, and the mobility of this lineup really worries me if I'm an Orange fan, because how will Chen and how will Bane really get these lockdowns? Sure, Fiend's Grip is a spell that can kill Lifestealer, can kill Stormspirit, but that's if there's no disable to counter you, which, I mean, Stormspirit is going to come in from a mile away, and I don't think that Fiend's Grip is going to do much.
You know, there's 2 ways to go at this, I'd say. The first one is to just shut Stormspirit down in the laning stage. So getting a Chen, a Bane, a Darkseer, you pick up a very self-sufficient solo in the Darkseer. He doesn't need too much help early. In fact, usually needs none. Lifestealer's not going to kill him by himself, and if he needs to, he can go jungle. That frees up your Bane and Chen, jungle for a few levels, and then go gank Storm before he hits level 6. Mushi, we've seen it from him time and again. He can dominate the matchups 1v1. He's beaten almost everybody in mid, and if he gets the right hero here, he definitely could. So don't be surprised when Mushi gets a Queen of Pain, and they just tackle this Stormspirit head on in the lane. The other way to deal with Lifestealer and Stormspirit is the 5-man. With Chen, with an early mech, which Darkseer can build, it's a little bit harder to find those pickoffs. If anyone's really in danger, you can send them back as Chen. Bane can sleep somebody as well, like the Storm when he jumps in. So I think Orange have a good lineup to deal with TongFu, but if they make mistakes early, if those first smoke ganks fail, if they fall behind and they're not able to get the items needed to 5-man, they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, speaking of 5-man, if TongFu gets a lead in that engagement and they need to chase, oh god, this is a lineup that you just can't run away from. I mean, Lifestealer already very quick with a standard phase drums build. He is going to keep chasing. Stormspirit, obviously, we've seen what IG did to TongFu with the Stormspirit on 430's play. If you run from this lineup, you're probably going to be dead. So Orange Esports, when they're winning team fights, they have to win it decisively, they have to win it quickly. And let's see how the draft's gonna predict. Because Darkseer is actually a good place to open up if you're building a team fight lineup. Their support don't have too much AoE, and that's my concern. So the carries, maybe it's gonna be a Gyrocopter, maybe it's gonna be a Alchemist with a Battlefield. They need some AoE in their damage output.
Yeah, we'll have to see where they go there. I want to point out, though, that Orange made some kind of unusual bans in the second stage of this draft. They banned an Enigma as well as a Doom. And you might be asking, well, why would you ban these? And oh, by the way, we're going to see a Mushi Puck. This guy, his reactions, I'm excited for it. And this is a hero, by the way, that can crush Storm in the lane if it's played perfectly. Oh no, here we go. This is a hero that has fallen off the face of the earth a little bit. Silencer hasn't seen much play lately. Very tough for a Puck to deal with.
For those of you guys that maybe this is a new game of Dota 2 for you guys and have not really seen Silencer being picked in International 3, Silencer's global ultimate, or ultimate, is a global silence. So nobody casts any spells on the opposite of the map. And it doesn't do anything aside from that. So at times, it is the best ultimate in the game because when the enemy is under siege, they're under fire, you're throwing spells at them, you know, them not being able to fight back with the spells is a big deal. But
Orange is a caster lineup. I mean, you look at these heroes, they're very spell reliant. They don't have someone like a Lifestealer who can get away with just right-clicking, maybe stay alive. They don't have an anti-mage who's naturally very tanky. Darkseer is to a certain extent. They can use their mech during that global silence, but if the silences are timed right, when Storm and Lifestealer jump in, there is nothing Orange can do. On top of that, they don't have anyone who builds Manta normally. They don't really have anyone who goes BKB. Darkseer can, Bane can, but he's not going to get a whole lot of farm. Maybe the Puck is forced to, or Yule Scepter. But outside of that, I mean, this global silence is going to go off. And if Orange get caught, they don't really have heroes that are great at dealing with it. Fantastic pick. Now, the weakness of Silencer is he doesn't have any AoE to stop pushes early on, and his laning stage is pretty weak. So the question is, can Orange punish this pick and set up a lot of early kills?
yeah, whatever their last pickup is, it has to be a BKB carry, maybe less, spell reliant. But the other half of the Silencer ultimate is if you whiff it, like if it's a bat ultimate, then it doesn't do anything. Its ultimate has a very long cooldown, has a high mana cost, so it's one of those kind of bend or break or do or die kind of thing. So hopefully whoever's playing the Silencer is going to have give us some good ultimates.
So best of 3, it's game 1.
Okay.
I said Puck for Mushi, but it could very well be a KYXY Puck. Are we going to see something like a Mushi anti-mage? It's kind of weak against this lineup that TongFu has, but Orange has turned to that when they need a win.
Or Shadow Fiend. I mean, that's... Yeah, there's like many ways I feel like Orange should go for it. I don't think you want to go for a Shadow Fiend simply for the fact that Lifestealer could be brought in with the Basher because of the Storm Spirit, and suddenly it doesn't matter, if you're BKB or not, he is going to shred through you.
I think, like you said, though, they want kind of an early to mid-game combat hero, so Shadow Fiend, Gyro, someone who can build a BKB, that really deals with Global Silence well, and it deals with Storm Spirit well as well, on top of the Nyx.
I think both Gyro and SF are great heroes, because of all things you said. Also because you have burst damage. When you play an AoE lineup that has very, very little amount of burst damage, like Darkseer Puck, they have some, but it's not like, your big kind of Requiem. It's not a big call down. It really gives Silencer a ton of times and very little pressure to press his global. So I think Silencer, going back to that pick, it's a great pick here so far, and TongFu bring out a surprise here in the lower brackets.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned anti-mage. No, it's going to be a Sven.
So there's that burst damage. There's that follow-up. If you get a Vacuum, Dream Coil, and one Cleave, that could just be it.
BKB carry, he's got very naturally high armor when he uses Warcry and his whole team gets it.
Yes.
Helps you deal with Lifestealer a lot. He'll build a BKB, so Storm Spirit initiations, Nyx Assassin initiations will be strong, and he's tanky. The last pick for TongFu will be a Clockwork. We expect King J on this one. And man, he's one of the most patient Clockworks you'll see coming out of China.
Yeah, Clockwork by King J to me is kind of hot and cold sometimes. Sometimes he gives you marvelous performance. In the past, I've also seen him go like 0-14. So I don't know which King J we're going to see today. Hopefully it's going to be the former and not the latter.
Yeah, TongFu's draft is fairly greedy here. Storm's not the strongest 1v1 hero mid. If you get ganked, he doesn't have an escape mechanism. You are up against a Chen and a Bane. Great setup there. Orange, I think their lanes are a tiny bit stronger here. It could be significantly stronger. It really depends on the Chen and the Bane's movement, which for Orange is usually one of their big strengths. Nat and Extinct, fantastic movement early game. They normally know where to go to set up kills. But when you go for a Sven, this hero generally needs help in the lane. He's not great 1v1. Do you think we'll just see him against Clockwork, though?
I mean, I think he's going to get help. Chen as well as Bane's going to be fine. If you do the Clockwork, I think he's going to be okay as well, because TongFu doesn't really have options to go offensive. I mean, offensive trialing between Silencer, Nyx Assassin, and I guess a Lifestealer.
It's very underwhelming.
Right, it's underwhelming. It's it's kind of weak. So I think TongFu sometimes is forced to actually go defensive.
And on that note, Game 1's underway. Yeah. Orange versus TongFu. Game 1 of a best of 3. Winner guaranteed top 3 at the International International 2013. Your loser will finish at a very respectable but disappointing 4th place because these teams, this close, they can taste it. They don't want to be knocked out now. And on the dire side, we have Malaysia's great hope, Orange Esports. Net handling the Bane, KYXY your Puck, Ohio the Darkseer, Extinct the Chen, and last but not least, it will be Mushi on a Sven. And on the Radiant side, TongFu. Leading the way is King J on the Clockwork, Sung Sheng, the Silencer. Behind them, trotting up, is Banana on your Nyx, Mu, your Storm Spirit. We may have an early clash. Observer Ward prepped. And now King J moving forward. Net, he could skill sleep, doesn't need to, just out of range. And last but not least, it will be Hao on the Lifestealer.
All right, so a couple of big things right from get-go. TongFu deciding to go offensive, trialing, but seemingly with the Clockwork instead. They are going to do this D-Ward. This D-Ward is very important. It will allow the tri-lane to pull to the left and get a little bit of experience. In fact, immediate ward being dropped down as well, so taking quite advantage of this. Is it offensive tri-lane or is the support rotating back?
I think I just heard a Vuvuzela.
The battle begins.
I'm having some flashbacks to TI2. There were a lot in the house. Here we go. The creeps are going to spawn. It is a regen rune for Ohio bottom lane. Not really the best for a level 1 rune, but we'll see a courier coming out. Ohio will be ferried some regen, so they're actually putting Mu on the safe lane. They're going to protect the Storm Spirits farm, and they'll make a kind of a different laning choice. They'll put Hao mid as the Lifestealer. How's Hao going to do here against our Puck for KYXY?
It's quite an odd matchup here.
It's not a 1v1. They're not going to give him a fair fight.
This is not going to work out. Can you just... Yeah, there you go. You could just phase and dodge those nukes. Last word doesn't do anything against a Puck, so...
Perfect timing from KYXY there.
Yeah.
That early phase shift doesn't last very long.
Well, meanwhile, back in the bot lane here, it's going to be a Storm Spirit against a Darkseer. That should be a fairly easy matchup, especially if Mu decides to level up his Storm Static Remnant. We'll see whether he decides to do so. Because if you keep Remnant and pushing out that creep wave, Iron Shower or not, it's not going to do too much. In fact, as you can see the Darkseer, I think he's going to go straight back to the jungle. Yeah, he knows he's not going to win the lane. So I guess credit here to TongFu predicting the lane here and putting Lifestealer mid. Now, he is going to suffer a little bit, but at the same time, you are getting absolute free farm on Storm Spirit. And we see in the past how destructive and how dangerous that hero can be.
Yeah, on the other side for Orange Esports, it looks like they want a really fat Sven. Already, they've stacked the small camp. They're pulling this camp, which has been stacked as well, getting a lot out of the jungle. Reminds you in some ways of the Alliance, one of the most efficient jungling teams in the business. Extinct farming a stack here. And Ohio, he'll actually go and clean those out early. So maybe they'll give it to the Darkseer. I'm just curious to see what kind of a Sven we have this game, because we've seen so many different styles. There's your kind of EG Fear style Sven. You go to basically for maximum damage, more of a mid to late game build. Mushi could get involved early if he wants to. Do you have any predictions as far as what kind of Sven we're going to see?
I think we're going to see the style that you just mentioned, just big damage, because the team is mostly comprised of lockdown, right? If you look at Puck, he's a more or less lockdown hero. Darkseer, more or less of a lockdown hero. Bane, same thing there. So he is going to be dependent by his team to do as much damage as he can. So on that note, if TongFu could get some Cypher Vice, if they could get a really good Clockwork trap, I mean, they are going to shut down Orange.
So I like the fact that they've put their Lifestealer in the bottom lane, or in the mid lane rather. And the reason is, Puck can't really solo kill Hao unless Hao screws up. Even if he drops low, he'll always be able to rage and then walk away. He's got tangos and boots up, more defensive build. If you put Storm here against a Bane and a Chen, there's a high chance that you get smoke ganked and you give up first blood. So they're securing their Storms level 6. We might see Mu rotate after that. Early Reign of Basilius, perhaps looking to push this tower. But I think the way that TongFu's laned it, Clockwork's not dying top.
Mid lane here as we see an open wound going right on KYXY. The orb was already used. I think he's going to survive, but a good amount of harass. Look at how he's not going to go in for the kill, but yeah, good amount of harass. KYXY's got to be very careful using his orb for harass and farm, because that is his escape mechanism, and Hao just showed him why.
Yeah, and again, these lanes are just really smart. Even if he's not getting aggressive, he's not dying, and that's the key thing. Lifestealer doesn't need to farm a lot because he'll have a lot of ganking opportunities later on. They've got Clockwork, Nyx Assassin, and of course the Lifestealer bombs. You've got Global Silence to set it up. And always when we look at a Silencer support, you need to see early levels and early pulling. Same for the Nyx. And so far, TongFu not really being denied in their jungle. Ohio's just focusing on his own farm. So the Global Silence should come pretty quickly. So too should the Vendetta.
Yeah, it seems like the Radiant team is getting a little bit more out of the jungle. But if you look at the graph, it's Orange that's getting a ton more, because they're not only pulling and stacking with 2 supports. Chen obviously jungle quite well. And Darkseer, he's well on his way to level 5 here. In fact, level 4. he's going to be picking up some big items. In fact, he's going to rotate back home, I think, or pick up a teleport scroll and straight go back to the bot lane to defend his tower.
Yeah, this is when these heroes are weakest, though. The Nyx Assassin and the Silencer is this stage of the game. Early laning stage, when Nyx is just a melee creep that has maybe a stun, and that's it. He's getting level, Sangsheng not being shut down. Orange, you'll want to see some good smokes from them. And already Extinct in Ohio, they're grouped up. They've got a Centaur. Maybe looking to make a rotation towards the top lane. Mid's a possibility, but Hao's much harder to kill. King J, we'll have to see which direction they take this. They want this first blood. They can search this Centaur. They can Ion Shell it as well. Both are level 2. They're rotating towards the mid lane.
I definitely
fishing for an opening. This first gank is really important for Orange.
I definitely think you make the top gank because mid, because
Mid's
you
just
could just
much
rage,
harder.
right? You rage and then you gank them. Meanwhile, we see Banana rotating in mid for the kill. Top, meanwhile, you could surge and Ion Shell that Centaur. And as long as King J doesn't, cock push it away, he's practically dead. King J senses something's coming.
It's daytime, though. It's daytime, and the wave isn't pushed. Generally, when you make this
King
gank...
J, they know. Where's the stomp? There's going to be the stomp. Yeah, there you go. Stop. There's the stomp. No, he misses. King J just walks us. Both players there had very slow reaction rate, but no harm, no foul.
Meanwhile, Banana, he spent some time mid. It looked like they expected a gank coming that way. It wasn't there. Now he'll head bottom instead, and Moo's going to start pushing. Storm getting close to level 6. Orange, if you look at this lineup, they've got two main ways to reliably lock down a Storm. The first is going to be your Bane feed script, and the second will be the Puck's Silence. Now, for the Puck Silence to come into play, he'll need a Blink Dagger in most cases. He's also not maxing Silence, actually, going for the Orb build. Sometimes against a hero like Storm, you'll see the Silence max first, but he's not laning against him. Orange pushing the tier 1. TongFu, they already struck first. They take the tier 1 bottom. Orange will reply very soon.
Yeah, I want to say there's actually only one way to lock down that Storm Spirit because you have a Silencer. Whenever Fiend scripts up, he's going to just global, and that's it. And of course, if Storm Spirit gets a BKB, there is actually no way to really lock him down. So look towards Mu because of the synergy of his lineup, because of what Orange has got, or don't have, in fact. Mu's going to have a huge game this one.
So early on, they didn't put Ohio into the off lane. He's now level 4. He had quite a few stacks to clean up. The supports for Orange, everything's pretty even between both teams when it comes to levels on supports. In terms of the farm in the lanes, you look at the mid lane, KYXY, he's very close with his Lifestealer. I mean, when you pick up Puck mid, one of the big reasons is that he normally can win his lane against most heroes, but Hao is definitely holding his own. Phase boots up, and Bracer coming soon, and how do they kill him? They're giving away free farm to a Lifestealer mid, and their Puck on KYXY hardly coming out ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think both teams just looking for levels right now, and when you talk about levels, TongFu is definitely getting a little bit more. I mean, because you talked about Silencer, you talk about Nyx Assassin. Whenever there's lack of early game offense, and we have lineups like these, TongFu is definitely benefiting.
Yeah, TongFu, of course, they're playing passively now, but that's all going to change once Mu gets enough items that he feels like he can go for a gank. He's just got his power treads now. He got the earlier into Basilius so they could push the tier 1, which we saw was successful. We'll see when he rotates off that lane. And also, once Banana hits level 6, once this other support, Sangsheng, when they have Global and they have Vendetta, then you're really going to see them start to force some fights. But for now, they're just sitting back and farming, content to trade with RNG Sports.
Yeah, checking on Shansheng's level, 4.5. Once he hits 6, that's when things really start to get real. But
mid lane, just threatening KYXY. Not an easy hero for a Nyx and a Lifestealer to kill.
Ooh, Stormster in the bot lane, a little bit of trouble. Iron Shot draining his HP quite a bit. Forced to use even his ultimate to get away from that creep wave.
Very early on, Extinct is going straight for Arcane Boots, and he nearly has them. Our Sven for Mushi didn't go for a Midas. We've seen this a lot from, again, Fierce carry Sven, one of the players who plays Sven a bit more frequently than others. But Mushi, early treads, early to mid-game combat build. He could go now for his drums if he wants. He's got a single gauntlet at the time being. But they are stacking the camps a little bit. They were earlier, but they've stopped that. They've cleared them out. So Mushi's not getting particularly fat.
Well, not yet. I think he's going to be able to pick up a couple of kills early on, and perhaps that's going to help him out.
And he's even leveling Warcry. Like, normally if you're going for that farming Sven, you level up the cleave, and he's not doing that. So it seems to me like Orange want to take a lot of early to mid-game fights, but so far, they haven't found a kill. We're nearly 8 minutes in. I feel like this tempo is favoring TongFu.
Well, I think it's going to change up soon, too, as Mushi decides to rotate mid. What leveling up Warcry does for you is make your Chen creeps a lot tankier on the front line. And that goes back to the TongFu's lack of AoE defensive spells. How do you stop a push that consists of 3 Chen creeps in front line with Warcries up and, of course, the threat of things like Surge Puck going right into your team? In fact, we're going to see a huge rotation towards the mid lane. If they get a kill here, that tier 1 tower is practically dead.
Yeah, is it just a pushing Sven? I remember there was this crazy long Sven game where they won the team that had Sven won the game just by spamming Warcry and letting their creeps hit the tower. And if you want to think about it that way, Sven can be a pushing here. Here we go.
Banana.
On to Banana. Could be our first blood. Trapped near the tree, but he spiked Carapace. Dodges the nuke from the Sven. Now a TP reaction. Moose come in. Silenced up, and he's brought down. Mushi standing strong. 2 kills to RNG Sports. Everyone living.
A little bit more here.
And now Howie looks like he's going to find Extinct. Make it a 2-for-1. Orange not done yet. Are they going to continue to fight? They stun King J. Mushi fighting, but he's low. In comes your puck. Now Mushi the trade. How low? How on the run? May fall here.
Magic wand.
No, sticks up. Still going to fall to Ohio. An absolute bloodbath. The gates have opened, and now RNG Sports leading 4-2. And we're not done yet. A beautiful dodge, and it looks like our puck will be able to escape.
I mean, clearly Orange Esport came out ahead in that engagement, getting first blood. Mushi did end up dying, but not before he'd done a ton of work. 4 assists on his hero.
And that's your blink on puck. I mean, it can't be overstated just how big that fight was for them. That's a 9.5-minute blink dagger. He skipped power trades, goes straight for the blink. 2 kills and 2 assists. Without that fight, he doesn't nearly have it.
At the same time, though, Sandstrom coming in the near end of the fight, I think he got experience for level 6 in that engagement, so the engagement further down the road is going to be a little bit more difficult. Now, going back to Orange side, because Silencer has such long cooldown on his ultimate, and because Orange doesn't really rely on their ultimate as much, they could really take frequent fights and take advantage of the long cooldown of Global Silence.
Early Medallion on the Bane. It looks like they might want to angle for Roche here.
They definitely have damage
a kill or two.
with Sven, yeah.
Yeah, it seems to me like Orange, I mean, we looked at Sven, we saw early creep stacking, you think, hey, maybe they're just trying to get him really farm, but they were using it for the Darkseer, trying to get his mech out quickly, and now a Rage Dodge on a nuke, and Mushi, the Stormhammer not connected, will back off. This may just be kind of a map control style Sven, as well as just the lineup in general.
Sven is it's one of those knights. You know in those video games you can upgrade into different classes? Like,
yeah, he's the rogue knight.
Yeah, he could do whatever he wants.
Yeah, Mushi is a bit of a rogue.
We've seen support Svens in the past too, so but we'll see exactly what he's going to do right now in this game.
So if you're TongFu, I think you look at the way Orange are playing this. They've got a really strong early to mid game death ball. You probably want to split push, find pickoffs, and avoid those 5v5 clashes unless you get a good jump. With global, they can get it, but especially when it's down, they won't be playing aggressively. They'll mostly be trying to find the points of weakness in Orange's formation.
Yeah, I think TongFu doesn't really need to play that aggressive. They are going to just go for picks. If they see a support that's out of position, they are going to kill, get a quick one, and then back off. Meanwhile, we see Mu teleporting to the bot lane. He's going to be going for Orchids, which is generally pretty good, but when you have a Silencer in your team, do you feel like perhaps you could skip that and go for maybe a bigger and better item?
You could. I mean, Orchid's really nice as well for the mana regen. I think is pretty strong. And the main thing is it gives you that additional burst damage from Soul Burn. So it's a helpful item just to secure pickoffs. It just synergizes really well with their lineup. Early Max Rocket for Clockwork, they've got a great pickoff lineup. You pop global, you jump in with your Lifesteal Bomb, and you just blow someone up. And getting an early Orchid does more for you than pretty much any other item in that regard.
It definitely do more damage. It's a little bit better in terms of like base regen over things like Siphon Ice.
Yeah, more of your carry storm would be the Bloodstone Rush, and obviously that'll scale better into the late game if it's a passive game, but this is a more combat-oriented Storm build.
Well, King J definitely getting his level up as well. Again,
big smoke. We might have an engagement mid net. He's got grip. He's going to get it off on Hal. Raged up. The global counter initiates. Now KYXY silenced up. TongFu was ready, and Orange are in a headlong retreat now.
Oh, they're coming right back here. Ow! Oh, 2-man stun here on the right click. That's 1 kill. They're looking for a second. Nice impale out of Vendetta to stop the engagement, but really think that Stormstar did not need to die, but Puck bought back. They want to get this tier 1 tower.
They've still got Blink Coil, and now Global's down. TongFu,
yes,
defending here is pretty risky.
I mean, they have about 2 minutes to do whatever the hell they want. They can even go into the Roshan pit, but not going for the mid tower is a little bit surprising to me. They have to spend ultimate up. He does so much right click. Blink, Jaunt, silence here. 2-man stun, and they're going to come right in. How very low. He's going to rage back out. They don't get anything done here. Mushi getting stunned up. He should be fine. They coil Banana, and that should be a kill on him. No spike just yet. Mana burn before he dies.
He will fall down. Score now 6-3 Orange. They're finding kills, but they're not getting towers yet, despite having a great pushing lineup. They have the Chen. They don't have the mech yet, as we see Mushi being sent back home to base, but Darkseer close to it. I think this game will change a lot once that mech comes out for Ohio. He's not far off. 500 gold to go. Instead of just getting a kill and then backing off, they'll be taking your tier 1, maybe even forcing a TP reaction to the tier 2.
Yeah. I think TongFu just holding on in these early game team fights are absolutely fine. In fact, after that team fight, there's no tower push. They're going to be very happy about that. Again, without global silence, this team is just completely different. So the fact that they don't have global and they're not facing any kind of pressure, TongFu got to be very happy.
I want to point out that TongFu is really respecting the threat of the early Roshan. They've definitely seen the medallion on the Bane, and they're using their clockwork rockets to keep on scouting Roche. They're flying out regularly now, a rocket heading more towards the Ancients, and it looks like Orange Esports, nope.
Well, they definitely scouted. Yeah, Mushi walking towards that direction.
So they still go for this, though. Global silence is down. TongFu are going to have a much harder time fighting, but even without Global, they still have Hook, they have Lifestealer bombs. It's a bit dicey for Orange. If they get caught in a tricky situation, if the cogs are right, they could just get cleaned up. There's no mech yet. The mech is still not out. Actually, scratch that thought. It is coming now.
I really don't think that without Global, TongFu could fight. I mean, you go into that pit and suddenly you're going to get your team silenced by KYXY. You're going to get your grip by Net. So it's a very hard choke to fight in. Of course, a single vacuum into a Stormhammer, you're dead. So it's a very dangerous situation to fight in. And I think TongFu, maybe if they want to make a play the Roshan pit, you do a Storm Zip for Aegis Steel. I think that's a play. But aside from that, I think TongFu is very limited. But with that said, though, Global is now back up.
Global is back up. They've weathered the storm, and it's now 14 minutes in, only 6-3. Orange, the ones who really want to fight. TongFu, they'll take the right fights, but they're not going to force it. The mech's online. You've got your Arcane Boots, your level 7 on Extinct, your Medallion on Net. Great setup to Roche, great setup to push. And right now, they are sitting back and farming. It's not that Orange doesn't have access to late game, it's just that winning in the late game is way harder for them. Because of the Global, because of the fact that Sven is a melee carry, can be kited a lot by things like Hook, Cogs, and when his BKB is down or if he doesn't have one, all the other disables. I think TongFu, if it keeps up like this, will be in the better position.
Well, nothing is actually happening just yet, so I guess we're going to angle towards that late game as move.
But let's not forget, one Sven cleave after a vacuum with a crit can change everything.
Yeah.
You can think the game's going one way. If Mushi hits a big crit with a cleave, could be GG. We've seen that before.
I mean, we're dare crafting really a lot right now, but to me, it just comes down to that global ultimate. If it's a good global, the team fights won for TongFu. It's a subpar ultimate global, then Orange is going to perhaps win that team fight. So I think Shansheng is going to be the most important player to watch this game.
Yeah, now the nice thing for them is once they have the Orchid on Storm, I think they can use Global offensively. So far, they've been reserving it for defensive use. Orange Esports, though, now into the pit. Medallion pop, Mushi with his ult. It's been scouted by TongFu. Will they reply in time? Streaming towards the pit is Hao and the rest of TongFu. King J, keep an eye on him. He could hook in here soon. Roche falling fast. TongFu still in position. Infest bombs here. Rocket to fly. Roche is pretty low. Orange, do they go or do they stay?
Nice
no.
block.
Mushi caught out, but he's cleaving like a champ. King J low, but Hao standing strong, and Pale catches two. KYXY unable to phase shift. Now we'll drop it out. Hao grip, high ground to low ground, but Moo's gonna cancel it. Now the silence from KYXY, low, not dead yet, still alive. Buyback from Moo, and now Banana on the run. Beautiful body block by Ohio, and now Orange Esports, 5 alive, still alive. Song Shung to fall. The TongFu just got outplayed, outmaneuvered, and Orange Esports are looking like they're gonna take Roche.
Hooking right into a Sven that has God Strength popped up, and he got his stun off before I think Battery Assault came out, so Mushi was able to do a ton of damage. Great Micro from Extinct because he moved the Chen creeps in the front so that it blocked the hook. Mushi was able to do so much right click because he wasn't stunned. There's a buyback towards the end by our Storm Spirit, but Storm Spirit, keep in mind that he's TP to the bot tower before that fight, so that buyback absolutely did nothing. I guess it prevented the Roshan from being killed. But
also keep in mind Mushi did buyback as well,
yes,
so the buybacks are 1-for-1, but the kills do go Orange's way. Roche is low, neither team gonna take it. TongFu, can they actually snipe this maybe? Is that something they would think about?
I mean, it's a lot harder. Again, it has to go back to Shansheng. He does not have his ultimate for a full minute, so if right now Orange wants to make a play, they are ahead. But if you get a pick off right now, which is exactly what TongFu is going, here comes Banana. Central gets dropped up here. Net has. Oh god, no, misses. But the ultimate move will get him. Nice self instead. But here we go. The
Net's dropping fast. He'll take a fall. Now Ohio. There's a pull. They've grabbed Mushi. He's taking him back. Stun on 3. They're all dead. Orange Esports. Fantastic teamwork there. Now Banana trying to escape out. He might fall. Coil for him. It's gonna be 4, and this should be Roche. Orange Esports out of their minds.
A single vacuum, a single stun, and Mushi, I don't think he even got his second hit off. Everybody just died so quick, and here comes that Roshan, like you said. I mean, what do you do against TongFu? TongFu made a play. When they saw the Bane, they were like, let's get a kill on him. But they chased so deep that Mushi and the rest of the team was able to reinforce on this tier 2 tower, and that was the kill. That was the team fight.
By the way, that's without Mushi having damage items. He's got drums and treads. He doesn't yet have his BKB, Mask of Madness, Armlet, Daedalus, anything like that. Now the Roshan to Orange Esports, 15-5, 18 minutes in, leading by 5,000 gold, 6,000 experience. TongFu are behind, Lumi, that much is for sure. But to me, they're the kind of lineup that can definitely catch up. We'll see an initiation mid, no real commitment here from KYXY. When you have this kind of global ganky lineup, when you have global silence, this is a lineup that can fall behind and still win the game.
Yes, it can. But I mean, at the same time, let's compare Sven to a hero like Alchemist. Alchemist or Lifestealer, they're heroes that do a lot of damage, but they do kind of sustain damage throughout the team fight. So if the team fight goes long, you could do things like Force Staff, you could activate your Ghost Scepters. It's going to be a lot harder to do it against a hero like Sven because he does damage in such huge and fast bursts that before your support could even Force Staff you, you're dead. Before you could even activate your Ghost Scepter, you're dead. So right now, Orange is they're the king in the next 10 minutes, whenever Global is down at least, I guess. So we'll see what Mushi Ang goes for. I mean, he's so far the support Sven, I guess. 2-2 and 11, but he's definitely picking up a lot of gold because of he's getting those assists.
Yeah, Orange, I mean, they've all been very selfless this tournament. We saw Mushi 7-0 and 7 on Earth, so sure, racking up the kills, but not forcing them. They've really evolved as the International 3 has gone on. TongFu will go for a tower trade. They'll take the tier 1 top. They don't want to fight against this Aegis, against the team fight advantage that Orange currently has. And there's no reason not to push top because Roche is down, so you're not going to lose some huge ground there. Orange will smoke up now, rotating through the Radiant jungle, but TongFu are all the way across the map. However, Hao's not, and Hao, if there's a blink coil, a blink silence, or just a grip around the corner, could easily fall prey to a gank here. Hao's in trouble. His support's rotating towards the lane, but I'm not sure if it'll be in time net. Sentry Ward plopped down, still waiting.
Ooh,
now a Rage, and he heads north. He sniffed it out, and Hao, Spidey senses a tingling, will dodge away from that gank.
Yeah, when everybody's missing off the map like that, and you know you're mid without being next to your team, that's a good play. Run north, run to your team.
They did place a Sentry Ward here, and I think TongFu had a Sentry, so they saw it, and then instantly he ran. It was dewarded since then by Orange, I believe. But Orange, now that they have the Aegis advantage, they've got the mech advantage, they're pushing down mid, and right now, TongFu, you're starting to feel that lack of counter push. They've got a max rocket, they've got a level 4 Impale, but you go beyond that, what do you really have? Infest, perhaps. By the way, speaking of Infest, Moo infested up. TongFu maybe looking to force a fight. If Orange get isolated or spread out, I mean, TongFu can definitely find kills.
Yeah, Mushi is the most important target for Orange Esport. I mean, if Mushi's BKB is over, then suddenly he gets in a little bit of trouble because there's a ton of lockdown spells. You have your Storm Electric Vortex, you have your Nyx Assassin Impale, and of course, there is also Exchange on their Lifestealer, and I think he's definitely going for Heaven's Halberd. So BKB charges down the road is going to be very important. And speaking of Mushi being important, here comes a big smoking.
Here we go. There's a leap, but Mushi is Aegis. Not really the hero you want to focus. You'd like to get onto that Bane or the Puck on the back lines if you can. Wrapping around his banana. Orange, generally we do see sentries north, so they have a gem. No gem, so they could get caught by surprise. No leap yet, but TongFu are efficient. Moo, now revealed. Do they jump in? He's going to leap in on Mushi. Remember, he's got Aegis. A blink silence. Now they've stunned Moo. Dropping in a hurry. He can't get out. The global's too late. Mushi standing strong. Impale, not going to do a whole lot. Mushi still diving. There's a grip on Hao. It's not being canceled because the silence was already used. He's alive. Arma toggles and KYXY brings him down. On the back lines, the Nyx Assassin falls to extinct, and they're chasing. They want Banana. Backed into a stun. Falling fast. Orange Esports, an explosive early game team, having a very explosive game number 1 start.
The score's 19-5 right now, and Mushi's been a huge part of it. I just love the item choice coming out from Ohio because Blink Dagger is a perfect second item. If you get that, we saw what they did near the Roshan pit with the vacuum and the Stormhammer. If that Stormhammer lands, that's it. So I think Sandstorm got a little bit late on the global silence because I really thought the play was Storm go in against the Sven, Lifestealer pops out, and then global right then and there because what is Orange going to do? And of course, if Sven dies, you just back off. Now, sure, he did have Aegis, so that play was going to be a little bit more difficult, but they need to focus Mushi fast and hard. And now with the BKB, they're limiting what they could do.
So Orange Esports, obviously taking the outer towers is fantastic for them. They've taken 4 already, maybe looking for those next 2 soon. The Aegis is down now for Mushi. They do get a Yule Scepter on the Puck. Great item against Global Silence and against Orchid. So I love this item selection, and he can use he can use their opponents when they jump in as well if the Lifestealer's not raged. So nice pickup from KYXY. Where does Orange Esports go from here? They're leading 19-5. Global Silence is down. It's coming up soon. Do you just wait for the next Roche and then go for the next tier 2s, or do you have another plan in mind?
I think that's the plan. I mean, they can't really go high ground, and I think that's really the question you're asking for. Like, can they win the game right now because they have this big lead? I really don't think they can. I mean,
right.
It's hard to go high ground here against this lineup that could zip in from all angles. So what you do against this lineup is make sure you tank up, make sure you get a couple of 4-staffs here, because Mushi is going to get focused somewhere down the row. You want to be able to kind of bring him in a safety position, because Global Silence does not silence your inventory, like LD has pointed out earlier. So I think because there's such a big lead, they can farm the enemy jungle, they can slow it down, and I think that's what Orange should do.
The item progression for TongFu slowing down quite a bit here. Mu, sure, he's farming well, but he's 0-5 this game. The last time I cast Mu Storm Spirit, I think he was like 5-0 at this point in the game, if not more. Storm Spirit, a snowball hero, not snowballing whatsoever. No Orchid up yet. And now even when he gets one, Mushi is a BKB. There's a Yules on the puck. There's a lot of ways to deal with it. Not to mention even things like the Ghost Scepter for net, so the Lifestealer can't hit you. Orange Esports so hard to go on anyone. I mean, who do you go on? If you don't go on Bane, he probably grips you. If you don't go on Instinct, he sends back or heals that here. Speaking of Instinct, going for a Scythe of Vice, going for the big Chen items. If you go on Puck, he just heals Scepters himself. There's just nobody to go on to me.
Yeah, there isn't. I mean, there was a lot of opportunities early on when they have Global up and a Stormster that could zip anywhere they want, but since the team fights win all Orange side, they were able to kind of pick items that are really good against the TongFu lineup.
Okay, KYXY, this could be huge. He's found 2. Coil, the silence off the mark, though. Now King J, Ghost Scepter up, breaking the tether, but here comes a Blake. Back on the far side of his own cogs. They've been turned against him, and they do find one, but it could have been more. Maybe it is. There's a Yules up on the Lifestealer. Orange Esports, though, they will back off. If he silences them there, they probably get 2, Lumi.
Yeah, I don't think they need to make a chase. You don't really know exactly what is behind. You don't know if Clockwork has a buyback. Buyback's really cheap at this point in the game, so they're going to take the safe thing, which is a tier 2 tower. Even draws out Glyph. I think this Glyph may be a little bit overzealous. How? One net on top of him. The second net on top.
He's got Rage, trying to bait it out. Mushi's done it. He's got BKB, not popping it yet. Still working on the tower, and there's a silencer top. Far away from the fight. Actually kind of cute because he's split pushing, and if they try to go a mid lane, he'll get off that global. But we'll see if Orange look to back after this. The tier 2 mid falls, and Orange Esports, their territory extends even farther. You can just look at the Fog of Horror. They see a good 2/3 of the map. TongFu, maybe a third.
Yeah, again, Orange does not need to do anything special. They just have to tighten up their gameplay, make sure they keep on their farming, whether it's on their own jungle, make sure you farm the enemy jungle as well as a team. I mean, it's very difficult if you farm as 4 or 5 to be picked off. The big concern here for TongFu right now is even if they have the big initiation, which they do, we keep pointing out, they have a Clockwork, they have a Lifestealer Infest Bomb, they have a Stormster. The big problem is they don't kill anybody fast enough. I mean, you could jump on, let's say, like a Bane Elemental and try to work on him, and maybe you get the kill, but by the time that you get the Bane kill, everybody's already here, and you're going to lose 4 for a Bane, and that's never a good choice. So I'm not sure what TongFu can do right now.
I think just split pushing and avoiding fights, and that's what they are trying to do, and we've seen that from them. The big question is going to be, once that Roshan number 2 is up and Orange force it, can TongFu split push fast enough to deal with Orange's 5-man, or can they fight at that stage? I don't think they split push that quickly, to be honest. Storm's a decent split pusher. Lifesteal is a bit slow. And then you look at how quickly Orange can push, with Mushi having got strength, and now working towards his first damage item. It will be an Assault Cuirass. Plate mail up. I think Orange are going to be able to force a 5v5, and TongFu are going to have to contest it.
Yeah, I really like the choice on Assault Cuirass in the sense that it really helps you break the base. In conjunction with your Warcry, you're working with
18 plus 16 plus another 5. It's a lot of armor.
I mean, I'm supposed to be good at math, but yeah, LD, you could take that one. Thank you.
And even more for the Sven as well.
The big thing, I'm actually kind of surprised. If we look at Hal's item choice, he's got the Sage, and I was predicting a Heaven's Hammer because it's a good way to shut down Sven. He's actually going for a kind of race hard build. It's just a build that's like we've seen players like Zoe, YYF, Era in the Western scene to gone for in the past. But when you're dealing with a Sven, I mean, do you expect the team fight to go long? I mean, if you win the team fight, SMY is great. It helps you chase down more heroes, but in the position where they're losing all these team fight, I'm just not sure what this item will do for him.
It's not like the best man fight build, right? Because Sanjin Yasha gives you a lot of little things. Attack speed, some move speed, the ability to slow the Sven down a little bit. The Sanj proc could be pretty big here, but Heaven's Halberd is nice, but then again, Sven is a BKB carry, so you can quickly remove that disarm. Mushi's BKB still very healthy at 10 seconds. I guess it's something now, right? Because TongFu is to me, it seems like they know Orange after this Roche are going to fight. And if you go for a big item, by the time you get it, Orange might already be at your base and killing your base.
Yeah. Well, actually, again, if you look at the top, it's split push. It's very, very odd hero to split push with.
It's very cheeky.
Yeah. I mean, like
it's slow.
If they jump on Shang right now and if he dies, you're like, we lost a silencer. Like he could buy back for like 400 or 500, and it's okay. And in fact, if you make 1 or 2 hero to kill Shang, you don't know where that storm is. You don't really know where there's a life stealer inside. So this is cheeky, but this is also very, very effective.
And TongFu, obviously, these guys are in a match that decides 3rd and 4th place, and maybe who ends up going on and winning the tournament. Of course, that looks like a long shot the way Alliance is playing, but they know Roche is up. They're choosing not to contest it. They're pushing top instead. The tier 2, though, there is a glyph available, and I think Orange can take Roche and defend if they so please. But will they? Aegis to Mushi, and now the glyph is up. Are they going to TP in? Here we go. Sven in the front line. TongFu on the run. There's a blink, a silence as well, and a coil. Banana melts, and they take Roche. They get a kill, and they defend their tier 2.
Yeah, tier 2 is going to get denied as well. So Orange Esports got everything. They got the Roshan. They got a kill on the support Nyx Assassin.
And the tower.
Yeah, and tower denied. I mean, support Nyx Assassin was about to get a blink dagger. He was up to a decent amount of gold. That could have been pretty effective against a Fiend's group that's been channeling against Ohio, who is really a big part of this initiation. So that's a pretty decent pickoff.
Yeah, and even against a hero like a Puck, because you blink in, you carapace, the natural reaction is when a Nyx jumps on you, you're probably going to try to silence him, and all of a sudden you can get stunned.
Yeah.
So, and right now, RNG Sports, I think there may be that one big item for Mushi away from forcing these tier 2s. Assault Cuirass actually now available, being delivered on the courier. That's a 30-minute AC, treads, BKB, and as well as drums on a Sven who's been pushing and fighting with his team all game long. Mushi CS not that big. This is a different kind of Mushi. We know Mushi for loving to farm. Normally, we know him as a snowball player, but he's very much a team player in this game, and it seems to be paying off. RNG Sports, a few more check marks on their to-do list, but there's still more work ahead. They need to take the tier 2s, and at some point they'll have to break the base. TongFu, great counter initiation team, hanging on, continuing to farm gold and experience pretty heavily in Orange's favor, but I don't feel it's quite at critical mass just yet.
Well, it depends.
It's getting close.
Yeah, it's getting close. I mean, Mushi, all he has to do, and of course AC is just a great item choice, he's going to just walk up the high ground and start hitting it. We talked about Orange lacking really a real way to beat down the base or break down the high ground. They don't really need to do it anymore because they have the Aegis, because of the AC. They could just slow siege it, but there's nobody here to defend at all.
A TP will come in. Now TongFu, they realize that they've got to force something. At least hold on. The tower dropping quickly. No God Strength up. No BKB yet used. Mushi will clear out an illusion. He's not scared. We saw him do this with Ursa. Whack the tower. Daring his opponents to go on him. TongFu, very reluctant to engage, but they'll impale him now. He could be sent back. Nothing yet. Slowed up as well. Are they going to zip and clear off the Sages? Surged away. And he will live. Do they send him home? Looks like Orange may just back off.
Yeah, it's good amount of damage done on the tier 3 tower. Look at that. If they do that one more time, that tower's dead. So we're going to send him back, TP him back, and
yeah, that's perfect for them. They didn't lose anything. They didn't blow the Aegis. They didn't waste a BKB charge. No Hand of God for that matter. And they did a ton of damage. Glyph wasn't forced out for TongFu. That's nice for them, but like you said, if Orange do it again, TongFu are going to have to fight.
Yeah, Mushi even better south and use it in the fountain. He just want to get back out here as soon as possible. He's going to TP to mid lane and just push out that wave to make sure that they don't have any pressure going on in that direction either. So Mushi joining his team back up top. And here you go, TongFu. Like, how are you going to defend this? There is a glyph that's still available, but aside from that,
3 minutes to go on that Aegis, and RNG Sports grouping up again top. 5 heroes up. There is a Dark Troll Warlord here, and that can be actually 2, and that can really shut down this Lifestealer in the team fights. That Ensnare does go through his rage. Let's see how good Extinct's Micro's been. Hell, it's been good. Let's see if it stays good. Here comes Mushi in the front lines. And now RNG Sports, they'll start banging on the front door again. Mushi, not yet committing. Looks like they'll wait for one more wave and then go in. No, he'll hit the creeps a few times. Still Banana, looking for an Impale. They do use a lot of nukes on it. Mushi dropping pretty fast. The last word doing decent damage. Now a Warcry forced out. And now we'll go back in. He's at half HP. There's a back and a blink in, but How not really caught. Remember, there's some troll traps here. BKB for Mushi. Now it's done. Rage dodged by How. He's sent home. Global. A global.
Oh, Clockwork Cook here to kind of cancel a couple TPs. All misses. They are going to go for a couple Chen creeps. We do have Just good disengage coming out from Orange Esports.
Oh, zip in, but KYXY dodging away. Mu low on mana. I don't think he's going to catch him.
No.
It looked kind of bad for Orange, and then Global Silence was blown by Sangsheng.
I mean,
so in the end, with Global down, Orange are going to come right back, and there won't be a Global.
I mean, at the same time, both teams used quite a bit, right? The BKB was used on Mushi.
But they want to fight now. Blake, silence on Mu, stunned as well. Mu is dead. Mushi popping his ult. 2 to fall in a matter of seconds. RNG Sports battering through the middle lane, clearing out the creeps. Actually backing off. There was a buyback on the Storm, so they'll play it safe and they'll retreat out.
Yeah, without BKB and Mushi, they respect the jumping power of TongFu, so you just back off, you wait 25, 30 seconds, and you go back at it again. I mean, Global is down. A lot of spells are down, and of course now buyback down.
And if that Storm dies again, that might be 2 lanes of Rex, because Mushi is going to clear off these Rex pretty quickly. Now, keep in mind, he doesn't have God Strength for this push. He's not as strong as he was, but he's got 2 lives to work with. He'll have a BKB by the time the Sage just falls. Open wounds up, impaled as well. There's an Enfeeble and How. Barely even scratching Mushi. Now gripped. Now Mushi's starting to go to work. A Blink. A Vac as well. They're on the run. Mushi, no kills yet. He says, let's focus. Back on the tower. Tier 3 to fall. Glyph still available. Everyone in TongFu alive. Remember, no Global here. How popping back out. Mushi ignoring him. He's actually disarmed for now. He's on the run. Can't hit anything. Hook in on net. Held in position. Ghost Scepter's there, but it won't save him. Mushi with the stun. Standing strong. He will fall. However, Storm's low. KYXY can't quite kill him off. Mushi, here comes round 2. He's almost got his ult up. The towers, the racks in jeopardy. The tier 3, the racks in the top lane could be falling very soon. How? Trying to hang on. Sitting in the front lines. But they've got to go now. Zip it on Mushi. He's got a BKB. Are they going to send him home? Hand of God's there. BKB's out. He is sent back. The ult wasted. RNG Sports unable to break TongFu yet. Will be driven back, but the racks are down.
KYXY trying to go to right side. Dream Call into 2. He's man fighting against 2 heroes. The zip, the dodge. He's going to get 1 kill. He's looking for a second. My goodness. These plays from KYXY.
And King J just too slow on the cogs. Could not stop the TP. Mushi, though, they didn't get the racks yet, but I mean, look how low it is. And the glyph was used. The Aegis will be down, but I think if you're Orange, you wait for the next Aegis and you go, because it's not like TongFu's farming during this time.
You need to wait for the next Aegis. You just go, right? Storm is dead for 30 seconds.
That's true, but Global's back up now. I think that's just the much safer play, because you get the next Aegis, then you go again. Mushi will have his next item, probably 3k gold up on him. And at that point, I mean, he can right-click anyone. This Lifestealer, as good as he normally is against other strength carries, is having trouble putting up with the physical damage that Mushi's dishing out. So, and everyone else obviously can't stand against him.
I mean, that goes back to the near 40 armor that Mushi's carrying. Like, Lifestealer Feast, nice joke, because Mushi just doesn't care.
Yeah, Feast actually does physical damage. It's based on the percentage of your HP, but it is reduced by armor. So How, not hurting as much as he normally would. It's not that TongFu are totally out of it, though. Mu's slowly working towards a BKB, which is a pretty big item in this game. It doesn't help against Bane, but against everything else, it will keep him alive a bit longer. King J, he has had a Ghost Scepter up. Looks like he's going for a Heaven's Halberd. That disarm will be really nice against Mushi once the BKB loses charges. Speaking of Mushi, Talisman of Evasion up. Is he building? Normally, we'd look at this and say it's probably a Heaven's Halberd. Is that what you think?
Butterfly is also pretty good. I mean, I think the evasion component is just what he needs. He's going to just walk in, tank up everything. If he dies, he dies. I mean, that's fine. There's so much damage on that Rax that they're going to just get it. And I think that if TongFu's down 1 Rax, they don't have that kind of lineup, and more importantly, they don't have that kind of late game to really kind of angle this game back.
Yeah, and Orange have more items. I mean, we've been talking a lot about the carries items. The supports have quite a bit of items, too. There's now a Scythe up on KYXY, and Ohio close to his as well. Actually, 300 gold off. I mean, he's so close to it. It really feels strange not to wait for it. But Orange are just very confident they can end the game now, or at least take a Rax now, and then take Roche and look to end it. Roche to respawn in 2 minutes' time. Orange losing this fight would really hurt them, but they do have a crushing and commanding advantage in terms of gold, experience, items, and position. Here they go. Once more. No, they'll back off. Pushing in the top lane. Now immediately TPing back towards mid and bottom. Now, if you do want to just go Roche, you can push the top lane, and then when TongFu goes to defend, you immediately go into Roche. Right. And it will drop fast.
I mean, I think Orange is actually playing overly safe. Maybe the big stage has made them calm down a little bit, because one thing that Orange can do is pop your BKB, pop your ultimate, and just walk into it and take the Rax. Because what is actually going to stop you? Aside from a Cog, which you could definitely kind of walk around and go around, there's nothing else. There's no glyph available either, so they're not making that play yet, which... And of course, you're not going to die because you have the Chen Sen back, so...
I don't think there's a big timer. I mean, TongFu have, I think, slightly better late game if they have the items, but they don't nearly have the items. You just look at the net worth chart, and Hao's keeping up, but then it's a pretty quick fall off. This Storm Spirit, Moo's going BKB Orchid. That's not really the best late game Storm build. It's more of a mid game oriented build. The Orchid isn't particularly effective against Orange. I think it's safe, and it's surprising to see Orange play so defensively, but I do think it's the right play. And if they get this next Roche, TongFu are going to have a really hard time stopping the push.
Mushi has an Invis rune, and he wants to solo like 3 or 4. He has nobody nearby, but
2.4k gold up, by the way, so he's getting close to something big if he wants.
He's just scouting people out. There's also triple Cypher Vice up now on Orange Esport. You have one on Ohio, you have one on the Puck, and Chen, of course, he's 2 gold away from his. So there you go, triple Cypher.
Well, 600 gold
600
away, but he's close. Yeah. You get this Roche, and that's triple Scythe. And they're running a one DPS lineup. They only have one here that really dishes out the physical damage, but they've got 3 Scythes, which means their lineup really goes late. And frankly, even Lifestealer. Oh, Mushi, DD rune. Here we go. Hao's got to be careful. Mushi looking for a stun. Blake, Scythe to start. They've caught Hao, but TongFu are ready. They're all grouped up. They will back off. With this DD, Roche is just going to melt.
Okay, there's a BKB on Storm Sphere, which...
Big item. He can still be gripped by Net. Keep an eye on Net, because his positioning has won them quite a few games.
Banana.
Let's see if he gets caught, though. Ohio, Scythe on Banana. They get the jump. They stun him as well. Nyx to fall soon. Mushi, hooked, held in the cogs, isolated while they work on Net, who's low, but not dead yet. Gripping from low to high ground, on to Hao. Hao's going to fall. Moo, out of mana. Extinct, bashed by Rose, but a test of faith. One more slap of those karate chops from Ohio. That's 4, and it's Roche to Orange Esports, and it's a GG from TongFu. Orange absolutely outplaying them. Take game 1, 29-6.
Mushi was just so big that game. Orange so far ahead, and TongFu just had no AoE at all to defend the base. And I think that's generally the big weakness. That's what Silencer just doesn't do.
Silencer and Nyx.
Yeah.
Great performance. That was really impressive by Orange. TongFu, a lineup that if things get bad, they get really bad. So much pick-up potential. Orange Esports, we've seen them at times brilliant. At times they do fall apart in the mid-game. This was not one of those games, and they, to me, are looking like one of the scariest teams at the International 3. And with that being said, we're going to throw it back to James and the rest of the analysts.
Yeah, there we go. We're back. Yeah, scary indeed, and actually it's scary for TongFu. It seems that they might not be able to get their rematch versus Na'Vi, but let's go to the other analysts at the panel and see what you thought of the game, because I've got my stuff, but of course I want to hear what you guys have to say.
I'm just very impressed with Orange. This was like a completely revitalized Orange that we saw. Sure enough, they played great during the day, but this game, wow. They just completely stormed TongFu. Mushi on the Sven, but the Darkseer is the key here. How he vacuumed them all together on top of a Stormbolt, the team play was just phenomenal. We had the Chen again, and the Bane played by Net, and those seem to be the core around Mushi, basically, who seems to be picking whatever he wants to.
Yeah, this is what I had as well. It was the Puck, Sven, and Darkseer combo in terms of being able to initiate and counter-initiate into fights. The Bane's obviously, as you mentioned, amazing at just holding someone solo out of the fight, and then Chen's just an amazing backup. Bruno, you got something to say?
I seem to remember another game that was very popular against Na'Vi. There was this team that was playing, I can't recall their name.
EG.
Okay, so you know what I'm going to say. Sven and Darkseer.
Yep.
Kind of a strong combination if you can pull it off. I think Orange has been on point there as well. He was telling me how strong the Darkseer was. But it requires a lot of good communication. And when you're getting into this point, there's lots of stress. Sometimes you're so focused into the game that you don't want to talk about anything. But if you look at this, I mean, when you see this team, Orange is playing so well with each other. We're going to see a perfect example right here. Look at how
here comes the vacuum into Stormbolt. This is ridiculously good.
Boom. And the wall and everything. This kind of combination. Of course, there was not a 2000 crit here like the other time, but they didn't need it. They just immediately killed 3 people, and after that, Banana just...
But in the past, we haven't really seen Rogue Knight being picked up without the support of Wisp. So this is like... It's a Sven strategy with the Darkseer, but there's no Wisp present.
Yeah, it was similar to the last game they played where they had Ursa without a Wisp too. I don't think I've seen that before. And, actually, that's not true. Alliance did it versus Roshan, but it's still very, very unusual. And Orange is making these unusual strategies work very, very well. It's not even, like, close, these games.
Well, they're using Bane and Chen instead. That just don't care about the Wisp. And, like you were saying, they utilize it so very well that they can just set up everything. But I think the key here is the Darkseer. Yep. If TongFu removes the Darkseer,
I think they can very well actually be able to fight.
Well, the one thing that interests me about the Darkseer and just how they played this, and what I really like, is the item choices on the Darkseer, but also the puck and the Sven. For me, you saw the Darkseer go blink and mech. Obviously, mech is what you're going to want. I believe it was the Darkseer that went mech. It wasn't the Chen, right? Because the Chen was actually going for Cypher Vice later. Okay, let's just concentrate on the blink dagger, since that's what I can confirm. Just being able to get perfect positioning into the team fights and be either initiate or back up your puck. Because you have to think, if your puck goes in and hits a 3-man coil, and you can get your Darkseer to follow up quickly with your Sven, then you actually have a chance for those combos. So I really like the blink pickup for positioning. On the puck especially, obviously you have blink, but the second item, Yule Scepter, was so good. Versus a Storm Spirit or a Life Stealer, you can get yourself out of trouble, but more importantly, against a Silencer, you can still